died?
Wiz, did you just fucking... Oh, dear. Wiz, remember, you're the one who has to introduce us.
Shut up! Do you think I don't know this? Do you think I don't know this? I was just waiting for everyone to be quiet. Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the No Consequences podcast. I'm your host, Wiz. Today we have a special guest. We have Pyre. He's pretty cool.
Hi.
And also our other hosts. Our other hosts, you know, like Alchem.
Hi.
Liz.
Hi.
She ate a bad candy bar, it's okay. And Cloudy.
Hello, it's me. Oh my god.
Okay. Oh my god, does every episode start with someone crying?
Or dying?
Yeah,
No, every episode
that sounds
starts
about
with
right.
making fun.
Yes. Now. All right. Now then. So. Oh wait, I'm not host. So I don't have to do this. I can be lazy.
What do you exactly mean by that?
Can someone
What do you mean?
his
What do you
ass?
mean you can be lazy? No, you can't be lazy because today we got a host. We got somebody on the stage. It's Pyre. Hey everybody, welcome Pyre. Hey, welcome to being our first guest on the podcast that we delayed for weeks because we're fucking idiots who didn't know how to fucking IM you on Discord or email you
We're perfectly
do
organized,
anything.
I swear.
We
I don't
had
check my email.
we had a pigeon holder. Does that count?
This pigeon,
I didn't
no one
set
fed.
it up,
No one fed the pigeon.
Someone fed the
I'm
pigeon?
sorry.
Yeah, the pigeon's
No one
dead.
fed the pigeon. Yeah, pigeon.
Yeah,
dead.
it did.
Pigeon
I
died.
did notice that you just sent the dead pigeon in a box, which felt kind of excessive. Like you could have
Sorry.
just sent me the letter anyway. Like not.
It
with
was
the-
alive. I guess it ate all of
The
the
pigeon. What's worse is the pigeon didn't have the letter.
Several business days. I am pretty far away. Like
Didn't even have the letter. We just sent a dead pigeon.
We just said
Whoops.
and that's all we did.
Like,
it was, I
but
get the intent. Like I figured the letter was supposed to be there.
we're
know,
organized. I swear.
Is that
I was
the
hoping
moniker?
It wasn't a dead.
Is
The
that the moniker?
moniker?
You know, like how Smash has those, like the Smash envelope, dude. You just send
Oh,
us dead
for fuck's
pigeons.
sake, the dead
No, we just send you dead animals. That's no
Animal
consequence.
rights activists, eat it.
Yeah. Who cares?
Oh
Fuck you,
my
Peter.
God.
Invited mass animal genocide.
Oh wow.
Oh no! So what happens when you do one of those little dove release ceremonies? They just all are lying on their microphone.
Instead of like hearing the flapping of wings, you just hear
You just hear.
flap, flap, flap.
This has gone morbid fast. I think we should go into the topics.
Hey guys,
We
it's
can
me,
go
the
into
We
mouse.
topics,
haven't said
alright?
any like
Speaking of
how's
dead
everybody
things-
been?
Oh,
Shut
yeah,
the fuck up.
absolutely. We're skipping steps because it's been weeks since we did the podcast. So first off, how are you
I
doing,
don't know.
Pyra? How's it going? Despite the fact we delayed it for quite some time.
Pyre.
Pyra? Is it Pyra? Pyra? Pyre? I feel like an
No
idiot
one's
now.
ever gonna say my name. This is my legacy. I've lived
Well, you can fix it right now. We're on recording.
years. I've
It's
been-
Pyre.
Yeah, well, when we do this live, it'll be.
We'll get this in. We'll get this in
It's
post.
live right now. It is live right now.
Stop posting my emotes.
We'll post it and we'll fix it in
We're
post.
I'm not gonna fix it in post. I'm just gonna make it worse. I'm gonna like literally find every time I say your name and just
I need a hypercut of every time someone calls me something other than Pyre.
Oh
It's gonna
god.
happen the entire session.
Just reverse the audio.
Oh Jesus
Nightmare.
Christ.
But yes, how are you
Like
doing
the
this week?
Chuck E. Cheese
I'm
rat.
doing.
Is he a
great.
rat? I see a mouse.
I'm.
Is he a mouse or just a big fat rat?
Chuck Entertainment Cheese.
I mean, what is
Okay.
the difference between a rat and a mouse, really?
Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Are we really doing this?
No.
Are we really fucking doing this?
Well, like a mouse is kind of like
It's kind of
Okay.
tiny, you know. It's a
Very
small.
different.
It's small. A rat's a fat one. It's an adult, right? Is that what it is? Is
Oh,
that
no,
a-
rats
So
kinda
So
look
wait,
like this.
Cloudy is a rat. The Cloudy
A
is
rat's a
definitely a
fat
rat.
What the fuck?
Because he's not a
No.
small mouse boy. He's a big mouse man.
Man.
Rats
You
are
see,
not
I got my head in the cloud.
Got him.
Oh no.
That's awful.
Yeah.
See, this is rat.
Yeah.
Look, see, this is my rat.
It's
That's
very
Is a very
cute
nice
rat.
rat.
That's actually a nice.
And then look at this.
Look at the mouse above. What the fuck? What the fuck is that above
The
it?
idea
He's
that there's so
sweet.
much visual humor in your podcast that is not going to translate at all.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
recordings
don't
of-
worry, don't worry. I mean, we'll
Usually
upload
doesn't,
the.
it just kind of like.
Well, it's like I still upload the full
Yeah,
like,
the
video.
full
recording
Yeah.
on YouTube, but
yeah.
the audio
full
version,
video.
people wouldn't
This
really
is
get
just
it.
what you
idea.
get for being poor
Because
and
it
not
happens
being
to me
able
all
to
the
afford
time.
YouTube.
As
Oh my
someone who
God.
listens to
Oh my
podcasts,
god.
Did you say afford YouTube?
Afford YouTube?
Like, that would have been really funny if I could have seen it.
I'm just
That reminds
gonna.
me. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm just gonna increase a little bit. There you go. There you go.
Add it
You
to the
keep
cut.
saying
Yeah,
Pyre. and I
Pyre?
can't-
Pyre? I'm gonna fuck it
Pyre.
up until the end. Fire?
Before he
Fire?
Fire.
Pyre?
As in
Pyre?
Pyre.
Pyre? Fire
Pyre.
pilgrims?
Did you? I'm not. I'm just gonna walk off.
Building a pyre to set
Well, what the fuck is a pyre?
a light. It's like the thing. It's the fire.
Guys, we're
before you
getting
set it on
distracted.
fire.
We haven't even like answered the question as to
Speaking
how
of
we're
dead
doing.
animals, chat.
There's a
Today,
podcast.
today we're talking about the death of content and how
Yay!
art is dead.
I mean,
Aw.
that's pretty obvious. Have you went to a modern art museum? I have. They have a
Did
literal
you not
VHS tape.
Look at the topic list.
We talk about it. Sorry, I know, but we're talking about modern art. You know, I'm just saying.
This is
Yeah, later.
Oh,
So much for asking everyone's week. I'm just gonna pretend we're all doing all right. We're all doing great, except Liz, because she ate an expired fucking candy bar.
What's the word, chat?
Such a terrible time. But you know what isn't terrible? Cloudy
Yeah.
on the set. Let me tell you about. Well,
Let him tell us about
yeah, that's right.
home
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
Wait, what? Wow, thanks for killing.
well, Cloudy
killing
will be
Liz.
telling us about the fine lines between ego
he's so
and
fearful of
ignorance.
this picture.
So you see, what the fuck? I'm sorry. What? My brain's like, I'm sorry. I just came out of the bathroom throwing up.
You don't know
So
what ignorance is?
no.
Two out of the
did you
four
grow up on a
regular
farm?
members of the podcast
Yes.
have vomited today.
It's sometimes it just be like that.
Oof.
Bad food, everybody. Bad food.
Bad food.
Don't eat Heath bars from Halloween.
Don't eat old
Why the
Heath
fuck
bars
did you
from
eat
your
a
body.
Heath bar that is like two,
Yeah.
three, fucking whatever months old?
Whatever. This already is a bad
Anyways.
choice all around.
Yes, the fine line between ego and arrogance. I don't know what the fuck that means because I'm.
He wasn't here when we were
Because I.
I was gonna say Cloudy's the only one who wasn't here when we talked about it.
Well,
Which
let's
is
talk
why I
about it
brought up
again.
That it was a bad idea.
Let's talk about it
Yeah.
again.
Listen. Let's have Azazel define it, and then you tell us what you think.
I'll introduce the
Okay.
topics and
Yeah,
then we'll
Pyre.
discuss them.
Oh my fucking god.
Can I mute him?
You are legally allowed to do that. It is under your jurisdiction. The fine line between ego and arrogance
Does
refers
that mean I can
to
send him to juvie?
the idea that a person can have an ego without being arrogant. And that ego often, the word ego has this sort of stigma around it that if you have an ego, if you're proud of things you do and you think that the work that you put into something has paid off and it is good and you want to share it and you want people to see the thing you've created or worked on, that you are arrogant. Even if you're not pompous about it or, you know, shoving it down people's throats that you're better than them, ego still holds that same type of stigma that arrogance does, or that
See-
arrogance is. And I
Arrogance
feel
is
like it
basically
shouldn't
having
have
too
that
much
rap.
ego.
People should be allowed to be proud of their work.
Yeah.
What is the fuck?
I know. The fuck.
Oh dear fucking lord.
I can't. It's so hard to focus.
It's so hard. Welcome
It's
to the
so hard.
podcast.
Every time you
Stop
zoom
zooming
in
in
on
on
this
that head.
awful creation's face, and I have to look at it sideways, staring at me.
It's staring at your soul, with one eye staring at your soul and the other eye staring over in the
The
distance.
deepest depths.
For those who
of
are
my chest.
listening to the audio of the podcast,
Stop
we're just
staring.
looking at abominations right now.
So you see the 1,000-yard stare.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
stop straining it. Just stop
This
spinning
is,
it.
this
Anyways.
is what I feel like
Anyways,
when I disassociate from real life.
Okay, if I had to give my little stance about
Okay,
ego,
I'm shutting up
ego
now.
in general,
Mm.
I mean, it does a lot to people. It kind of like if somebody does something so well that it's like, hey, give me price for it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, well,
Unless it's like,
what it depends on what they do, you know.
yeah,
Like the thing about ego ignorance is the one big issue is, especially in the context of content creation, it's the effort that they put behind it, and they expect something, and if it's called garbage, they feel personally attacked,
yeah,
and they want to protect their ego, whatever that may be. And it could be something as fucking awful as like a let's play being recorded on a fucking like CRT,
ooh, yeah,
like circa 2007 or something.
yeah. Recorded with like something like a flip camera.
Oh yeah, and they
Andy.
also like have instead of like adding music to the fucking video over like editing, they just fucking play it in the fucking video.
Oh, they played it in the video itself.
Yeah, they play it in the
Oh,
recording.
yeah.
Yeah,
They do it
remember that?
live. They do it live.
They
yeah.
do it all live, and it's the worst fucking thing in the world. And if somebody can go up to be like, all right, dude, that's fucking garbage. Go get a PVM or whatever, not PVM, but fucking capture card.
Capture card. or
Fucking
something.
idiot. And they're like, no, I'm fucking great. Nah, shut the fuck up. I don't need that shit. I'm amazing already. I don't even need quality.
I don't need that.
I don't need quality
I
recording
did okay.
software. I did okay. I think I'm using as a good example of that would probably be like Dark Side Phil, but that's just because Dark Side Phil is a fucking.
No, it's not the prospect that they're doing okay. It's like the main thing about arrogance is that you're flaunting something that you possibly do not have. Even if you do have it, you're blowing it severely out of proportion.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, think about it as in. Sorry. Think about it as me as an artist. I personally do not like to be told that like my art is good. Personally, I don't like things to feed my ego because I feel as if that is bad, and I shouldn't have to feel as if me being prideful of my work and looking at it and being like, yeah, that's Gucci Lit fan. I'm not saying that again, but it's like.
Ooh, boy.
Ooh. I never thought I'd hear Liz say that.
That's
I shouldn't have to feel as if me thinking that I did something good and trying to show it off and flaunt it as something that is bad. And I usually do. Because we're just conditioned to think that we, as a whole, should not acknowledge parts of our being to seek validation from other people. That we should self-validate ourselves. And that's not a completely human thing to do.
Okay, I get that. What? I mean, go on, Pyre. No, I want to hear what you have to say first.
Run on. You better if you have.
Oh
something
no,
to
go
say,
for it.
say now.
Have you not noticed that we run on too?
I will
Go.
not let you speak after I
Oh,
start.
don't. We'll interrupt you.
No, I will
Go.
talk over you.
Go. I'm not listening.
I will do this all night. I will
Excuse me. I'm gonna play Arc Knight now.
and we will get nothing done.
Go on, because I kind of lost my train of thought. To be honest, that's kind of why I was like letting you go because I
Shut
lost.
the fuck up and just go.
Go.
Yeah, what Liz is talking about is kind of what I was getting at, of the idea that it's treated as sort of like taboo to think that things you do are good, and that like to want to show it off. And a lot of people hold like the idea of, like making art or content in general or media in general in this sort of light of like, if you're an entertainer or a content creator, you are not allowed to enjoy your own stuff because that's a sign of arrogance, which is innately wrong because that's not what arrogance is. Arrogance is thinking that you are better than other people when you aren't. Right? You know, like
Or just
you can't
overblowing
say
it.
Usain Bolt is arrogant saying he's the fastest person in the world because he is the fastest person in the world. That's
Up to
a
date.
fact. Currently, I don't know if that's current. The last time I heard about Usain Bolt was like 4 years ago. I could be completely wrong. But the
You
idea
do
is
know that the
arrogance
Olympics
isn't related
happens
to
every
fact.
4 years, right?
Look, I
So
don't
you
know.
wouldn't do it again.
I'm not a sports boy. I didn't
Everyone
play
and their
the
mother
ball
knows when
stuff.
the Olympics happens, my friend.
I didn't know he was an Olympic racer. I just thought he was fast. I didn't watch sports.
How do you think he climbed out that he was the fastest?
Oh no.
Because people said he was. You look at fastest man in the world, Usain Bolt comes.
This is a die.
How do you quantify that if you don't compete in the Olympics?
Because it's the same thing whether you do it at the Olympics or like some other event. It's by time, right? Like that's how it's fastest time.
Like, how do you
per
compete
distance.
that unless you want
I mean,
Never
I'm sure
mind,
he
just keep
won the
going.
Olympics.
Shut up.
I feel like it was a bad
I'm concerned.
analogy.
It was.
I'll make a new one. I'm gonna
Make a new one. Okay.
Just trashes him for his example, not even giving him the right to.
I was confused. Like, how do you
Okay, so like
That shows no mercy.
I can't think of anything now because I'm upset.
We lost all lost our train of thought. Or minds.
Wait, okay,
the
listen.
idea innately that like you have this ingrained idea that you aren't allowed to enjoy your own creations as an artist because that's seen as sort of arrogant and you would be labeled as egotistical, like it's a bad thing to enjoy something you create, which seems like a strange idea because if you're making something with the point that it's supposed to be good and that people are supposed to enjoy it, why shouldn't the creator be able to enjoy it? You know, like we romanticize that sort of like struggling, depressed artist that we see throughout history a lot. You know, like
Edgar Allan Poe.
like probably one of the most prominent examples being Picasso, who was super depressed.
Starving
like,
artist,
really,
man.
Starving artist.
No, listen,
Yeah,
I would say more
artist
Edgar Allan Poe because the bitch died in the fucking gutter. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, but that's not
God damn.
as common example. Like, not everyone knows that Edgar Allan Poe died in a gutter.
But
Right.
they all knew
But
that
like
he was
everyone knew
Look at his
Picasso had cut his ear off and ate yellow paint because he was super depressed.
Are you talking about the right person?
Probably not.
That's Vincent
That's
Van
Van
Gogh.
Gogh.
Yeah, you're
That's
Van Gogh.
Vincent Van Gogh. I'm starting to like
We'll get
question. We're getting pretty.
No,
credibility.
We're getting there.
Okay,
Picasso
first
did
of
all
all,
the
you did.
abstract
No,
art. Very
listen. I think we
different
need to cut you off right now because you're like, you didn't know that Usain Bolt competed in the Olympics, and now you don't even know Picasso or Edgar Allan Poe or even Vincent Van Gogh.
No, I
Like,
know
what
who
even?
Edgar Allan Poe is. That was not part of my analogy. You brought that up.
Yeah, you were like, most people wouldn't know about that, and then you go on to correctly.
I am bad with words.
That's not words.
It is words. I get them mixed up.
That's pretty bad.
It was pretty. Yes, Vincent Van Gogh cut his ear off and ate paint because he was depressed, suicidal, and a lot of artists that became famous after their death lived that sort of starving artist life of living through, you know, poverty, like literally starving and living horrible lives full of trauma. And it's sort of romanticized in society of like, that's how you should be if you create stuff. You are not allowed to enjoy your work. It should come from a place of like
Sorry.
You gotta stop.
You gotta stop,
Completely
Liz.
derails me.
Liz,
sorry.
Liz, at this point you could
my
mute your
brain
fucking mic at
stops
that point.
functioning.
Like you're killing the
I
conversation.
totally lost
The
my
flow
train of
is
thought.
gone. The flow is gone. There
It's
you go.
gone. It doesn't. Art is dead.
Art is dead. Oh my god, we're skipping so many steps.
Everything is awful and on fire.
I can't help it because
on
like I'm looking
fire.
at what I'm drawing and I can't help but laugh.
I
And
hate
then
it
you
so
just
much.
see this and you're just like, oh no. And then you
I
like
get it. Don't
zoom
get me
out and
wrong.
then you
I
see
get it.
that.
I get
And then
it.
worst of all, you look at
gotta, you gotta stop.
That was not a good.
This is
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is-
exactly why we're known as no consequences. There's a lot of consequences that should be done right now. Specifically not knowing fucking Vincent Van Gogh. Come on.
No
how did you mix him
consequences.
up with Picasso?
I mix names. Look, Liz, I have spelled my own name wrong in
Yeah, you pronounced
on important
Burgess
documentations
instead of
more than
bourgeoisie.
once.
Bourgeoisie, huh?
Look, that's an entirely different scenario, and if
No,
we
it
get
is
into it, it will
not.
take all podcast. We're gonna move on.
We're gonna move
Moral
on.
of
We're
the
gonna move
story,
on.
You should be allowed to have an ego and be proud of your work and think that you did a good job.
Oh, is that what we're talking
You
about?
should not be arrogant. You should
we
not
kick
think
him
you are
out?
better than others.
Ow.
Well, absolutely no. I agree with you, especially because we live in an age where we have a hard time trying to appreciate ourselves, especially with our finished work. It took me a while to appreciate some of the videos I made previously because even though I thought they were good and people said they were good, I can always feel like I can do better, and there's always better work out there. But it would take me more, like even longer to even achieve
More
it.
effort.
Yeah,
more or
well,
less
not just more effort, but more experience required to make it. Like to become a good content creator is hard. It takes
Takes a
effort.
lot. Yeah, it takes a lot of.
It takes a lot of effort, which why we bring us to the next topic. Alchem, you're on the show.
Oh.
Your topic
He already
is
here.
low to no effort
and to no effort
content. You know what this means?
Yeah. Hey, no effort content. That's my shit.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah,
Can I just remove
yeah,
him from the group
Yeah,
right now?
yeah. Actually,
I'll
Am I
leave.
allowed with that?
I'll go. Don't.
yeah, he just left the call. That's pretty cool.
No, he didn't.
Hey guys, my name's
Why the
Alchem.
fuck did you remove him from the...
Oh my
Ladies and gentlemen, No Consequence Podcast. This is
Ow.
the best it's ever been.
Ow.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
Hi.
I'll be
Damn.
honest, Alchem, for a moment I thought you left yourself.
Yeah, I
and then
thought you
was like,
left
no,
too, and then I
that's too
looked.
much
I was like,
effort. That's
oh.
too
On-
much effort for
On
Alchem.
this episode of the chopping block, shit, man.
Alchem, you did not make it to the second round.
Apparently not.
God.
But yeah, I digress.
Don't make fun of yourself on here. It's not
I-
fine.
You know me. I always do this. I mean, I poke fun, but I know what I do. When I mean lower for effort, I mean literally individuals who they don't focus on doing anything on their own. Granted, my thing, I don't see it as low effort because I literally wing everything I do. I just decide, hey, what I'm doing, I do what I'm like, hey, what I'm doing seems like fun, so I'm just gonna hit record and just go with it. What I basically see as low effort or no effort is you are not trying anything on your own. You're not making any content yourself. You're not doing your own kind of reactions or your own behavior. You are step by step copying someone else or just literally ripping off someone else's work, using their own audio, maybe using their own background, maybe just literally just say you're just flat out just copying.
Or just
No,
or just straight up stealing the fucking video and just
Yeah.
redubbing it. You know, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's another.
Yeah.
That's another thing
Yeah.
that's been common. Yeah.
That's no effort at all. That's like bottom tier no effort. That's
like-
the best. Yeah.
Your Turkish Star Wars.
There you go. Like you're doing a
Oh,
bootleg.
God.
You're doing a bootleg stream. We'll call it that.
I feel like that's a real thing. I feel like
Yeah.
That's probably a real thing.
I honestly, if there is, I would be fascinated to see something like that because
Real
And
quick.
people getting away with it too.
go on.
Who is this?
That's
Who are
you.
Is that
That's
me?
you. That's you. It's you, Pyre. It's you. You look so nice.
The funny part about the low to no effort content is, specifically as a content creator, you gotta gauge like the same meaning. Like, does it protects their ego? Okay, here's an example. Like I said earlier, before I was cut off, I wanted to talk about a little bit about Darkseid. I don't know if you guys know who he is. Let's player, been around for about a decade. He got into multiple different scandals. Absolutely terrible at video games. People just watch him to make fun of him because he's a fat weirdo loser who managed to be somewhat successful on the internet. I think recently, I don't know, can someone check on that for me? Like, check up. I think he is like now $50,000 in debt because he was gambling on a WWE Gotcha mobile game or something.
Oh.
Yeah, he went down a very...
I don't know. Someone has to look him up because I can't remember if that actually the thing. But to go back to no to low effort content, that is the type of content I would assume like a Let's Player who truly never really cared about their content and just keep on just throwing content out constantly without any understanding or any care of quality. And to some degree, that's a lot of the content creators I've seen throughout the years. Some get better, some get worse, some have a completely different change in the type of content they create. In some cases, if not most cases, they would stick to their low quality, low effort. Let's do a Minecraft Let's Play. That's probably like the modern example would probably be let's be a Fortnite streamer or I don't know if that's still in with the kids. Maybe could be fucking something else. I'm young too, you know. But the thing is, I don't know what exactly would like grab the main audience. That would be something that everybody does, like during the gold rush of like the Minecraft YouTubers or like the small little community era, like the commentary era. I mean, like with Leafy is there and shit, like or Leafy was here.
Oh, Leafy is here.
Like that's what I mean. Like that's an example of like low to no effort content.
No effort.
That you just fucking just shit out. And it is something that will eventually grow into some type of community and gather an audience and eventually builds up that ego, builds up that ignorance for the idea that their content is very much transformative and amazing and different, despite the fact it's literally them using pre-recorded gameplay footage. And this is old. This doesn't really exist anymore, I'm assuming. I don't know how fucking popular that is. I'm assuming it isn't. Due to so many reasons, especially with the demonetization and the way the modern YouTube like algorithm works. But like low to no effort content is something that is just very much part of the community, no matter what content creation community that you're in. Because the big thing about being a content creator is just focusing on what you think is your passion and what you want to show off. Or you could just make a fucking reaction channel, and that still gets big. Or food review channels. That's a thing too. Some people can do it great. I'm not saying it's lazy. I love Review Bro. Like, he's a great guy. He's fucking hilarious. But also, he's reviewing fast food. But he has a quirky sense of humor. Great podcast. Great guy. Check him out. Review Bro. But that's like not even like an extent of all the low effort, you know, and like everything is kind of like ungageable either. Like I wonder how hard it is to make a reaction channel, you know, or like a top tens channel. Like how much effort do we mean by low to no effort, you know? And what's the extent? What's the spectrum? Where we're gonna fall, man?
Okay.
I think if we
Liz
want to
here.
make a gauge. Oh, go ahead, Liz.
Liz?
One of the best ways to figure out whether or not it's low to like no effort content is just like the sheer amount of like shit pumped out. Like I'm gonna say like a theory channel for people who do theories for cartoons. You would mostly think that they would analyze stuff do things properly and things like that. But then there's just like a shit ton of content pushed out all at once, and it's like, holy fuck.
I feel like you're
Because like
speaking from personal experience. Like you've watched a channel like this
I have,
Hmm.
because it's
and I'm referring to
very
them
specific.
specifically. You know who you are. Anyway,
That wasn't ominous at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
there's also like
Liz is coming for
the cooking channels where like they do like, oh, life hacks, cooking hacks, you know,
Oh god, we can't
where
talk
it's
about
like
life hacks.
low effort but like high reward because the algorithm rewards them reposting their videos, mind you,
So,
because
like we're on
Oh.
Instagram and Facebook or Twitter or
on
whatever the hell
YouTube,
on
For-
YouTube.
YouTube.
So they repost the same video on their channel again twice, but like
Yeah.
slightly
Yes.
edited, or is it just the same fucking video?
Same video.
Same
How,
video.
how does that even work?
While we're
Because
on this
no-
topic,
Hmm.
I'd like to bring up because this is a very real thing that I've seen a lot of and I've noticed a lot more. Is you guys know how there was this big boom in popularity after Vine shut down of people reposting Vines in
Oh, yeah.
compilations.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube compilation of Vines here.
And I watched a lot of people talking about it and I had seen a couple of them. I was never huge about Vine. Like I think it's funny and I get its humor of like very quick snippets. And obviously Vine's comedy would not make sense in a longer video format. Like no
Mhm.
Vine would be funny if it was 2 minutes long. Right?
Yeah.
If you had all
Yeah.
the context
Unless
to the
it
joke,
was
right? It
one
wouldn't be funny.
that one dude.
Oh.
There's a lot of dudes in Vine.
think I
You gotta
know.
The guy with the dish soap where he was just like, mind your own damn business.
Yeah, but like it would not be as funny if you had to watch 2 minutes of it straight of him
He
just
has
yelling.
2 minutes.
But
Lots of
then it's
people
not a
watch him do
Vine.
that. No, I mean
Okay,
like
then it's not a Vine. I'm talking specifically about Vines would not be funny if they were taken from a short format to a longer format, right? So instead of people trying to recreate the feeling of Vines on other video sharing platforms with longer form content like YouTube, people just were like, hey, I'll just repost a bunch of Vines that people like, and then they'll watch it because Vine shut down and they don't have anywhere else to do it. And so
They have
people
no
would
choice.
re-upload a bunch of Vines in a compilation. And the first time it's like, I get it, it's nostalgia and whatnot. But
I
then
hate
you'll
it
go
when they
through their
retweet it.
channels and you'll watch like 3 or 4 videos that were posted in a row. And you'll notice like 50% of the Vines in the second compilation are reused from the first compilation in a different order.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next video and it's like, oh, well, a bunch of these were in the first one that they just didn't use for the second one. And then they just keep sort of like laundering the
that or
same
they
content.
have like
So not only
multiple
are
of the
they
same in it.
reposting
Mhm.
the content that wasn't theirs to begin with because they're
Yeah.
compilations, it's just other people's content that you took a bunch of the most popular or most recent and then put them in a video, which in itself is not very hard. Like I'm sure there's editing to it of cutting the empty space out between each video, which I mean granted isn't super low effort, but it's low effort enough that like you couldn't make any decent content on your own with that amount of effort. Right? It's very low effort for how much reward you get out of it.
Yeah.
But not only that, they're just taking the same videos and then recutting them up and then reusing them for like 80 plus videos now. Like there are channels with hundreds of these compilations where they have like the same 500 vines circulating and they just show like 40 of them every video and just circulate. It's like the radio, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, we'll play the same song 12
Oh
times
god.
throughout the day, but we'll do it over 16 hours so the same people don't hear them. Because you're not going to watch every Vine compilation on a channel. You're just going to watch whatever comes up in the recommended,
It's true.
you know? And then you see the same stuff and
Yeah.
you just keep getting that feeling of nostalgia.
Eh.
And they can just farm it.
Well,
that's the thing. No one stops it because hey, people get exposure that way. What do the creators of them care?
Well, because the creators are no longer doing videos anymore, or
they moved on to other projects.
And another example of this I see is like angry video game compilation, like angry gamer compilation, like the ones that like the smash their gamer gear or whatever the dumb
that kind of ordeal.
And it's like, oh, I seen the same fucking video 10 videos in a row. And it stops being funny and it starts being like, oh, you're clearly just manipulating it just to pad out time for hit that delicious 10-minute fucking ad revenue. And it's ridiculous. But that's also like, that's how you get the system. That's how the system works. It allows you to do these things.
That's what I'm saying. YouTube's algorithm sucks ass.
Well, I mean, it was worse. Sure, but it could be better. But they're never gonna get it better. And here's the thing: we're not even content creators ourselves. At least I'm assuming here that all of us here are like YouTubers, like deep into the trenches, fighting off YouTube for them to so I can be able to like pay for my fucking groceries this week after making like a video that took me a week to make and things like that.
I'm hungry.
And please, I'm hungry. But that's like an example of the things you have to deal with as a content creator that is just kind of the more modern aspects of it all. It's just kind of difficult to really say because we're not really content creators or influencers in a massive regard. We all have our own spaces and communities that we have an influence over people to a degree. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure all of us here have our fan groups in some type of weird way. That they're like, oh, that's cool. They're talking about a thing. They're talking about a thing. Let me check it out because they like it. I like them. That's kind of how usually for streamers work. I don't know how. Shut up. I don't know how it is for those who are actually, for those who are YouTubers, for those who are actually making real good to honest content, even if it's still low to no effort, or at least in this case, I think the easiest one is, does it have a personality? Does that person have a personality that is obvious, that isn't like plain fucking vanilla and pretty disgustingly boring? Because I've seen channels that are in the millions and they have like the most dry personality in the universe, and then you kind of like wonder like how did they get so famous? And then you realize they played the algorithm right, where they know how to pick up topics and clickbaity titles, and it's a lot of the other stuff that low to no effort content creators aim for. And we're not going to point out names. We're not gonna we're not gonna kill them. We're not going after like anyone or everyone. It's clearly there's just people who have been in the game long enough that you can tell what they're doing and how they're doing it, and then there's people who are coming up and they're growing successfully. But it's just kind of weird that this is kind of like how the state of content creation is, at least for the YouTube platform. I don't know how much more we can go into it other than to get a look at Patreon streams.
It's weirdly low effort Patreon sometimes, bro.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. If you want to talk about like low to no effort content creators, I think my favorite was I remember, I don't know who it was, but
I give
artists
you
that steal
a virtual hi-fi,
like a steal art or trace art from another artist and then like still promote their Patreon as if they were making something, and I'm like, this is actual fucking like plagiarism. This is ridiculous.
Plagiarism. Yeah.
Like, I've never
get
seen
arrested for this.
Yeah, absolutely. We could see it, and it's rampant, but it's also kind of like standard. Because as anywhere that you can make money off of entertainment or content, people are gonna find a way to make it the easiest, the cheapest, and in bulk, so people could just sit there and just like watch it, kind of like how they just sit there and watch Netflix or binging videos.
I hate doing that.
Yeah.
Just that's how it is.
It's like you can't you can't do anything. This is rampant consumerism spreading across the world, where you just gotta watch it just to watch it, so you can have an opinion on it. Just like do what you fucking want. I don't care if you haven't seen My Hero Academia. I watched the first 11 episodes of it and I
Remember,
didn't give a shit.
everyone wants to be topical. You don't want to be that guy who has no idea what's going on around them, even if it's in movies, even if it's games, even if it's TV. You don't want to be that guy who's left out in the loop.
Well, I mean, in some cases, that's how some people like get their content. You know, some content is specialized. All the YouTube creators I primarily watch are all specialized. They all talk about retro game stuff. Who the fuck cares about retro game stuff here? Who the fuck actually would sit there and be like, oh yeah, dude, I love talking about the Sega Saturn in 2020. The Sega Saturn in 2020. I speak English good.
I speak English.
But that's kind of like an example of it. You know, as you know, we gotta close up this topic because you know this does lead up to the thing I did dropped off a little earlier. Sorry, Alchem. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, that's pretty much it. Honestly, you guys covered a lot of the topics, a lot of the parts of it. So yeah,
I feel like this is a good time to plug my Patreon. If you give me $500,
I swear to fucking Christ.
Liz has one thing to say.
Go for it.
Artists who do low effort shit, like you know, they make you. Oh, Demon sent me something where it was like this person charged like $25 for their Twitch emotes per one.
Wait,
and I'm like, like I charge fucking $5.
That's server cost. Is that like what's honestly, the fucking what's the cost for that?
There's some that charge 30.
Even don't start messaging me, please.
There are actually people
like if you're paying a professional artist to do like full size art, like $20 is sort of lowballing something like that. But if it's pixel art, because pixel art is super easy to do for Twitch emotes specifically because it's all upscaling and downscaling. So it looks identical if you just make the pixel art at the lowest resolution, which is like 24 by 24, 22 by 22. I was
concerned because I saw Demon start
something like that, and then you just upscale it 3 times. So it's super cheap, it's super easy, it's super fast.
He sent me the picture again.
But when you start at a like a full-size picture and you have to downscale, and there's a lot of work that goes into that, especially if you're doing high detail art to make it look good as it goes down, like something like that's going to be much more expensive. I'd say like maximum like 40, 50.
Now,
I think that's sort of
I've seen shit where like you know, I understand like the really mega like professional artists charging like shit over $100 because their shit is like extreme quality. You can get that stuff printed and it's like damn, holy fuck. And then hey
no,
and those artists tend to also have like limited spots because they get commissioned the most, so that means it's also like pricey to just even get an available position there. So but then there's the artists who charge 80 for shit like line work, and I'm like, I understand, I don't know, maybe you have have something to pay for and it's like you really cannot spare the time and shit like that, but like $80 for line work? I know how long that takes. Me being an artist, I am particularly fast at doing it, but I also know that there's a lot of people out there who are also very quick at doing it because it's like one of the more simple parts of it, unless you add a lot of shading with your line work, but that also varies from artist to artist. But it's like some people just pay too much for like the little, I mean, these people pay too much for a lack of effort, and there's these people out there who charge so much for a lack of effort, because I really don't think you should have to pay 25 for a sub emote per like emote that you have on your Twitch, because like I know how they are working. You don't normally put that much detail into them. They're very small. It's gonna get lost with the size of how big it is. If anything, you're just trying to magnify certain things so that like that draws attention to it, and usually they're simple. They're easy to understand, and most often than not, they're not drawn in the artist's like big, clunky, more realistic style. It's like more chibi or heavily simplified for how you're going to do it, because they're 128, I think. I don't remember. Well, no, 112 by 112 50 something by 50 something, and 28 by 28. So you got extreme loss of quality for that. So you wouldn't do any detail on that besides like basic stuff that would be able to pop out. You wouldn't
Exactly.
charge
Well,
25 for that.
it depends on whether you start at the smallest size or the biggest size.
Usually the
Like I
biggest
said,
size, because then
if
it's
you start
easier
at the
to.
biggest size, you have to do a lot of retouching to downscaled work compared to starting at the smallest size, like pixel art, and scaling it up
Oh no,
one
it
to
looks
one.
really bad. I know it does. It looks really bad when it's in the actual program, but once it's like actually out there on the internet and like the size difference, it's not that bad. Cause like you see this is the 28 by 28. It looks fine. This is when I pull it into my art program. And sorry for those who won't be able to see, but
Yeah, this is again a very visual topic.
This makes perfect sense, and I can see it perfectly clearly. I don't know what you're talking about.
I could see audio forms.
I could see the wavelengths.
Yeah, man.
so
They reach my brain in the right way.
you see that like there's a severe loss of quality there, but you can tell most of what is going on in the image in the small version, but it's like heavily pixelated when you have it blown up in an art program. So like most of the time there isn't that much retouching that I do personally. Like this is the one I started with, and then
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but your art style also has very clear, defined borders to certain lines and what
Yeah.
that makes it come up a lot better when you're doing something like downscape that other
yeah,
artists might not have if they don't have such a clear, defined lines in their art.
a lot of people, they will do lineless, yes, on their professional pieces, but I know a lot of them, I've seen a lot of their work outside of their like more professionalist pieces. It's most of the time you're not going to do one thing. Sometimes that I do painting, sometimes on my digital art
Yeah.
program. It sucks, but like, you know, whatever. But the main part is that like most of the time when you're a digital artist, it's different than being a traditional artist because it costs a lot of money to get a whole bunch of different materials. That does not mean that you're experienced in a lot of things, but as a digital artist, it's easy to obtain brushes, especially if you have my specific art program. You can download them for free from a widespread community, so like you can try out all these different types of stuff. So like regardless if I specifically have really bold lines in my artwork. An artist may not have that traditionally through their artwork, like, I mean, like, as in traditional as their own style normally, but they may do that differently when they make someone else's emotes so that it shows up better because they're doing it for a sense of quality for the emotes. And it's
Right.
not going to show up
Yeah.
if they try to do a professional piece within a 112
Well,
by
yeah.
112 thing.
I
So like
guess
I
my
just
point is ultimate that it's obviously art is heavily subjective in how people feel about certain pieces and how good they look versus how much they're worth. But ultimately, art is a luxury. If you are paying someone, if you're commissioning someone to make art for you, that is a luxury. It's not an expense. It's not something that you have to get done. And it's a sort of like free market, I guess. I don't know how you would describe it. It's the best word I can think of.
free
Of
market.
like, if you don't like someone's prices or you don't like someone's style, you don't
Yeah, you
have
just go to someone
to pay
else.
for them. You just go find someone else who charges less or, has a different style. It might not be the same, it might not be what you're looking for, but you can find someone else who is more competitive price wise, or, find someone with a similar style. But that, if you do really want something in that specific way, but you're not willing to fork up the money, you don't have to have it because it's a luxury. So,
I still don't think people should be out there doing stupid shit like paying like $80 to $100 for line work.
But you know
It makes
what?
me angry.
You know what? Sometimes you gotta make that money. And to make that money, we live in the modern day. That's right, everybody.
Yes, we're
We
gonna
can
take
finally
advantage of stupid
move it
people.
to the next topic. The modern day
Fucking
content
segue.
creator. Let me tell you about, because we got derailed by amazing fun facts of, man, people are really stupid and they pay $80 for, like, seriously?
Yeah, sadly. It's not even a joke.
Okay. But as I was touching upon, to the low to no effort content, the modern content creator, they got to deal with a lot of shit. We all here are, like, to some degree at some point, we're streamers or streaming currently still. And the thing is, we don't post our stuff on YouTube in a heavily edited, in a heavily segmented way, unless we actually, get an editor to do it, or we do it ourselves and things like that. That's just kind of like not the same, because we're not being paid and driven in a way to do that. When I think of the modern day content creator, I think of the average Joe Schmo trying to make it day by day from his pure to honest content creation work. Meaning primarily he is making money for YouTube, for Patreon and donations and t-shirt sales and merchandise and all that crazy shit. That is who I think the modern content creator is. The man or woman who is still striving for that dream to create content as their primary form of employment, which I think is fucking nuts in this day and age. It's very much possible, and to do so you have to work within the means and the circumstances of the individual. But kind of think about it. Not like pointing anyone, but here's an example. I review anime and manga for a living, for like on YouTube. Like I watch anime and then I write a script about it and I make a video, edit it, and all that other stuff, and I do the weird copyright dodging, like menagerie, all that crazy shit.
Fucking review. It's under
copyrighted by the fucking company, but that's not here today. That's an entirely different other topic we can go into.
Fuck you, companies.
But that's like an example here. But like I'm using that as an example of, like, imagine trying to picture yourself as a person who's living off, which is ostensibly like a fake career. If I was going to be honest, does that sound like a real career to you? Yes, I make YouTube content as my primary form of employment, which I think is fine. But for me personally, I would want to, unless I'm being paid that well, or you have like a realm of influence that allows you to do it. Like, I'm not talking ill will to people who are like way up there, who are doing it. They're doing great and they deserve it. It's just more of for those who are like on such the lower end that they're still striving for it. They don't have that position. They don't have that community yet, but they're aiming for it though, which I think is ridiculous. The modern day content creator is a struggle because they're trying to chase after what is ostensibly like a career they should have gotten into 3 years ago, before the idea even existed.
What happens is that it's kind of like what I watched a documentary on how cats took over the internet. It's a really nice documentary. It's on Netflix. What happened is that it said basically that there's the first generation cats, like the first generation cat celebrities, where they did all of this on accident. It was not intentional. It was put out there purely just to be put out there. And then the second generation follows up with actual intention of and want to become popular and to have fame. And out of that it arises the kind of thing where the originals are born out of accident and just creativity and fun and just fucking around, and then those who come afterwards are just chasing after that high that they have, and they won't just get it like that because it's a lot of luck and unknown circumstances. So it's kind of like that. Like that.
Yeah, I mean, once you hit it once you get lucky and maybe strike gold with a video that you posted, you kind of want to do it again, or you think you can.
Well, it really determines on like what is the big hit, you know, that makes you the big sensation, or what makes your channel known for something. You know, some channels are known for that one video of them being an idiot, or one video that's a really good fucking video, but that's all they're known for, and they make really good videos after, but their exposure afterwards is so much less. And I'm assuming the latter is more often than not. At least from my like personal experience, what I've seen, like there's really good channels that make these hour-long videos. They're amazing. Then you realize nobody's watching it, because after that one video on this one specific topic, and they don't make another one on it, they're dead. In some cases, maybe that encapsulates your entire YouTube career if you were focusing on, like, say, I don't know. You used to make
Minecraft.
You used to make Minecraft video. No. Even better. You are a Siege YouTuber. Something like that. But then you're like, one day you're like, oh my god, dude, I'm a real big fan on Escape from Tarkov. Make one video on it, millions. Well, shit, I guess I'll make more videos on Tarkov, but not that much, because I still love Siege as my main thing on my channel. And then the fans will be like, oh no, they just make more of these videos. And you're like, oh well, you know, I got a fan base right now. I'll listen to my fans, and you know, they'll tell me I'm doing a good job, because that's what I want to hear. You know, going back to the whole ego thing, it's very much like the snake eating itself, because instead of like you're creating content for yourself, for what you want to watch, for what you want, you'll dig yourself a hole where you're like, oh, I got to. This is what made me successful in this specific like niche, until more people come in, and then somebody does it better than you, and then you'll be replaced. Which is the very thing that's more often than not happens in content creation. The modern day content creator, or content creators everywhere. The day that you will be replaced by someone else. Very much the same as any other medium. You know, I'm pretty sure there was like a book in your life that changed your life, and it was the best book ever. You read another book and it completely replaces it completely. Or like a series of a show, or
a movie,
or like a movie, or anything. Really, that's how like content eventually kind of disperse, and it starts being a thing you do or talk about. One of the big things that still gets to me is like, I'm a big fan. I'm a big personally. I'm a massive fan of a series called Maji Koi, and it used to be very much part of my like life for a while. Like reading the game. The game's like over 100 hours. It's a very good visual novel. Amazing characters. Talked about it with some of my other friends who read it. It was just so awesome. And eventually, as much as I still like the series now, I'm never gonna make it a habit and go around like that's my main thing. That's not. And the same thing is gonna happen to any content creator for what they're doing. This used to be my main thing, but it's not anymore, because due to either they lost interest in it personally, or they've been driven to change due to their fan base needs.
I just play what I want, bro.
But okay, I mean, maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want to aim for success, and other people don't want the personal satisfaction. It is very much like a personal case. I'm like, then again, it goes. It's
a case by case kind of thing, and it depends on the person and what they're seeking.
Yeah, it goes back to the low to no effort content as well, because sometimes maybe that very one stupid thing that they made is like, oh, I made that in 2 hours, but no one's watching my video that I took 2 weeks to make. I guess I'll just make more of these shitty little easy videos. And then suddenly the content of your channel completely diverges into a different fucking way. Because that's what people, that's what made you popular. And you want to stay popular. You want to keep growing. You want to get your sub points up, and get your followers and your influencer, and follow you on fucking Instagram and Twitter, and listen to their cool things they tweet about, whatever the hell that is. I don't know, man. Content creation in the modern day is so completely hard, because unlike the past where you just kind of make it and then you had a presence, nowadays you got to have a presence in like 5 different places, and on top of that you also have to be in like 8 different spheres to even like manage to be successful in some way. at least in the normal sense, depending on what you want to aim for success. Some content creators aim for primarily low and community success. Some people aim for even higher than that. Want to fucking franchise their name or like make their name a brand, something crazy like that. Some people haven't, and we will definitely see that in the future because, you know, every single day there are new content creators.
Now, dummy.
Yeah.
No, but we're saying we're gonna see no other names. New names will be popping in.
Yeah.
What is this, actors?
Essentially, I mean, they're trying to strive for something. I mean, you've seen it. Some people branch out from just being YouTube famous to making their own series. To some of them, just actually popped into fucking videos, some movies. This happens. I mean,
What do
so
I have in my hand?
I'm sorry.
That's a signal.
Why?
I like he's just making all this exaggerated stuff of everyone in the pictures. It's like, oh my god, I still love the stupid little figures. I love it. It's brilliant.
For those who are listening to the audio of the podcast, travesty. That's what we're witnessing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, if this is fucking beauty, I don't know what is. But yeah, the modern day content creator is just, it's a struggle because it goes all over the place. It just goes all over the place. I don't know, like, how about the rest of you guys? Because like for me personally, like it's something difficult, and I don't know how I feel about it because I'm just like I said, I'm just a consumer of the product. I'm just a viewer.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know what's the sausage. You know, you only hear it from like the content creators who are willing to talk about the struggles they have and how difficult it is to just see that your very community and everything you create upon and the hours of work you put in, the hard work, the effort you put in, and you get no returns, and compared to Joe Schmo 79 420 XD fucking make a Fortnite video about the newest patch and he gets millions. It's like, what the fuck is this?
I have very personal experience about this exact thing.
Oh,
not from me, but from someone I know. Also, Liz dropped the video share, and now my profile's a circle, and it doesn't align right. I'm very upset. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to move on. Keep looking at it, and we'll lose my mind.
But yeah, go for it. Talk about your topic.
Names.
Of course not.
But someone I knew, someone who I watched like way back in the day. Like I remember being around and watching this guy's content. He was one of those people I followed during the Call of Duty zombie Easter egg hunts. You guys remember those? Those were fun. Where they would live as game comes out, and they would spend like the first 48 hours just like trying to figure stuff out, and they'd keep passing all the information around in this big community. And it was super fun, and it was really enjoyable. And I knew a lot of these people that worked really, really hard to do this kind of stuff, to like it was like to no return. Like a lot of these guys were super niche, and there was like a couple names that got pretty big, and they were sort of like the main names to turn to. And a lot of those people are still the same kind of names, or have been at the top for years, but it's also not as big of a topic anymore as it used to be, because like Call of Duty is just Call of Duty now. Like it's there's so much to it that it's just not the same anymore. Like it's a whole different game to get into. Like if I tried to like get the new Black Ops game and figure out the Easter eggs by myself, there is no way I'd figure anything out. They're so complicated. This is irrelevant. I'm rambling. So anyway, I knew this guy, right? And I remember it was me. I was about to start listing names, and I was like, that's probably not a good idea. It was me and like 2 or 3. I think there was 3 of us in the time that this happened. There's me and 3 other guys in this guy's chat, and I know them all by their handle. Like I could list all of them by their handle. And I remember him bringing up this idea. I think it was when Black Ops 3 first came out, like when it first launched and they were doing the zombie hunt. And he was talking about that he had this idea because he was like, as much as he liked these sort of, you know, the live long format Easter egg hunts and being part of the community, he wanted to do something else. And he wanted to sort of like boost his content, right? Of like see if he could do something bigger and make something out. Because he'd been doing this for years, and it was so minimal in the returns for it.
But he had a
And
small
he
community.
started a
Hmm.
top channel, like a list channel where they cover like news, and like they make lists of like new stuff that comes out, ranking them and stuff like that. And I kid you not, it is now a multi-million follower account. He
Damn.
runs a business. He has several different channels that are all like massive. He's got like a team together. Like he's got like he's paid off like his own house. Like he's doing very well for himself.
Nice.
And he has gotten very popular. And it was in months that this took off. Like he really did like put it all on black. Right. And that's kind of what you have to do with modern day content creation, is it really is a gamble. Right. Because like I could go and make, a top 5 channel right now, and that doesn't mean it's going to do good. It doesn't mean it's going to catch. It doesn't mean that I have, that I'll be able to put the time and effort in, and I'll have the personality to push forward good videos every day with the energy that it takes, because I'm sure that's hard. If you're making 5 videos a day every
what's up,
day,
Liz?
like that has to be straining. I don't know if it's high effort or good content, but I know it's hard. Right? I couldn't do it.
Right. But Liz, what were you saying? Hold on, Pyre. What was it?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's up, Liz? Is it Liz knockout time?
Okay, like there was a big difference between content creation now and content creation old, because back then, like, you would go viral, but it was nameless. Pretty much most of the time people couldn't attach like who did what until like a bit later, and even then, like, it was sort of like a slow accruement of people over time. It wasn't like this big thing like, oh yeah, someone posted this video and then this bitch gets like a fuck ton of like millions of subscribers the day after or the weeks after following. It usually was just like kind of like doot doot doot, just slow strokes up each time, each moment, and like that was for everything, whether it was, I don't know, a comic that you saw, things like that, because like shit wasn't as widespread, things didn't go through via word of mouth as quickly because they didn't have access to the internet at the time, or it was too expensive for them. Like now you can have it on your phone, your computer, your television, your fucking smart fridge, maybe your damn fan. I don't fucking know.
We haven't advanced that far yet.
It's easy to get recognized, but it's easy to get recognized now, but it's hard to keep your following up. You may lose it or you may stagnate. And it was a lot different back then, where it was more just like
there was also less competition. That's like the one thing we kind of also forget. Nowadays, everybody's trying to climb on top of each other. That's what I'm
saying with access. More access means more people, meaning more content that you have to consume, and you miss out on the like little highlights, the people who are actually really good at what they do, because then you get your fucking face shoved full of what YouTube wants to watch you.
Well, I wouldn't even say
watch that day.
Sometimes it could be just something like I'm a big fan of Resident Evil. I have watched, I would say, throughout my 5 years as like a timeline of Resident Evil reviews of the original and HD, and each one says the same fucking thing, because it's a review, of course, right? But it makes me wonder, like, why would you review this game if you don't have any extra say to it? That's kind of like an example of like did they create it because they wanted to, or did they create it because that's what they needed to do for like an anthology or like, you know what I mean?
Oh, this is YouTube art community, I swear.
Yeah, like that's
Have
like
you
a
ever
weird
seen
thing.
the videos? It's
Which
weird,
ones?
but it applies to this, where it's like someone does something stupid within the YouTube art community, and there's like shit ton of videos on that one person because everyone's on top of the bandwagon and
But
shit,
everyone says
and
the
it's
same
just like,
thing.
what the fuck? No one adds anything to it, and then there's just that one person who gets out and is just like, I wasn't gonna make a video on this, but holy fuck, holy fuck,
That's
everyone's
every
saying the
YouTuber.
wrong things. So it's kind of like then they compile all the shit that people say, whether or not there were little bits and pieces that people actually added to the conversation, and then disproved it and actually laid out like a correct thesis. It's like antithesis of what the fuck happened. So it's kind of like that's what everyone does. There's these small, like, there's just a shit ton of videos on one topic, and then there's that one person who grabs them, puts them all together, and then says that either they're stupid and they don't have the correct opinion, or
You mean
that's
social
like
commentary YouTubers?
Yeah, those are
I
the
think
commentary YouTubers, and those guys are like fucking vultures, and they
Yeah.
can vulture off each other.
Yeah,
And-
that's that's when you get good
Oh,
content. When
have
they
you
start
seen it?
bolting off each other, that's when
Have
you
you
get
guys,
gold.
okay, I have to say his name out just in case, but have you guys ever seen a video done by PK Russell?
I know.
No, no.
No
Well,
idea.
he was a part of like the art review community where they like look at stuff and be like, what the fuck is this? And what he did was that he said that he vehemently disliked Has Been Hotel, and he got insta clapped by pretty much everybody else in the art community, and I was just like, holy fuck.
But that's like, but it was, but like, was his, but it was just an opinion piece.
Of course, it was an opinion piece, but he did over exaggerate it. But that's how he is. That's his fucking content. He he over exaggerates his disdain for stuff,
Okay.
which is normal. But
Well,
like,
but they took it as an attack
As an
on a beloved.
I don't think
new,
it was an attack. It was just
Especially new people who didn't understand him.
it was the evaluation of it where they're
okay.
just like,
Oh.
They
wow,
said
I
thing
can't
I
believe
like
that
is bad. They're bad.
he said thing he basically jumped on the bandwagon of people who dislike Has Been Hotel or some shit like that, and most of the stuff that he said, I haven't watched the video because I didn't give a damn, but like what happened is that like lots of people didn't like the fact that most of his criticisms were unsound or just shit that he personally didn't like to think about, like. And to me, I think that if you're trying to do something to talk to people about your review and stuff like that, you shouldn't just include 100% of like what you think. You should also try to correlate your opinions with what other people have said instead of just full on only yours, because then like you compare and you can contrast in your review so that people get a more like understanding of it, of what you liked, what you disliked, what other people liked in it, and why you think that either they're wrong or they're correct, because then it adds a lot more, mix and things like that, where you can just look at it and be like, okay, that's an all around like good video on it, and you don't just get one full biased portion of it. You get all around a nice monochromatic painting. But
I
not
get
everyone does that. But
it's because you're talking about social commentary, and those
they're
YouTubers
not
who do that.
social commentary.
But the okay,
100%. They do critiquing for artwork, for
yeah.
series, things like that, cartoons, shit, whatever the fuck.
But
It's not
the
social.
a lot of the viewers go there. Well, a lot of their viewers go now for the personality, especially they've been there for a while. It's like they want to hear their opinion, but mostly they want to hear their opinion specifically.
Yeah.
I
Unless-
don't know what. A lot of the times, usually just like, oh, I keep seeing shit on the internet about this. I'm going to look up something about like, oh, why is everyone hating on Has Been Hotel? And so then they look and they
Okay.
find like either his video or a couple other people's videos saying what the
And-
fuck is he talking about and shit like that, and then they're just like, he's insane. Or everyone's just like, I think they're overblowing what he's thinking about this. So you got like all this portions of people who are just in outrage over something that doesn't fucking matter.
And I see you look at different angles at other people's opinions. You look at various other stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I like seeing different proportions because like I
Okay.
personally like seeing who is being attacked, why are they being attacked, how do they think about this, and then I'm just like, who's an outsider who's just looking out on all of this as it happened but didn't get involved, and then like then I see and I evaluate it and I think, oh, this person's stupid, that person's stupid, or they're both of them are idiots, and everybody else egged it on. So it's kind of like, to me, that's how you come to the best decision, is to see like not everything obviously, but to see a little summary and even more in depth into what is going on in these videos who get output, because like modern content creators are really quick on getting certain videos out if it means getting some sort of view, or like something
Get them
outrages
clicks.
them, or something makes
Clicks.
them, not just the clicks, just something makes them fucking pissed, you know?
Well, yeah, drama.
Call out.
Because it does good in the algorithm because they drop
drama
names.
in general
It does
brings
good on the
money.
algorithm.
Yeah, it works so much well, the other algorithm, because everyone wants that. Not everyone, but like there's like this need to have like this outrage on something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because you're bored. Your fucking
okay,
life sucks.
But once again, that's a topic for another day. Can't go into it now.
Yeah.
For obvious.
But-
Can I just real quick
Yeah.
end on like something that's gonna like divide? I don't like Has Been Hotel. I think it's a bad show.
That's all right.
It's fine.
I
think
didn't
it's
watch
okay.
it. I did not watch it.
Honestly, I just think
like
it's okay.
It's the one pilot episode. I wouldn't say I would dislike the whole show based off of what they're trying to cram into the one thing that
Pilot,
they
yeah,
have.
like
How
they
long is the
literally
pilot?
I think the
shoved everything.
premise
30
in itself
minutes.
is
30 minutes.
I thought it would be
good.
an hour.
Yeah, it's only
Nah.
30 minutes.
30 to 45, I
Yeah,
think.
but,
They really
but
tried to
because the
shove
pilot is
everything in
what we
there.
have to judge it off of currently.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't
And
say I like
you know,
the
I'm not
show.
going to say this is my permanent
Mhm.
answer because people are fluid. The show might be much better than the pilot is. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying based on the pilot, I think it's bad. It's a bad premise. The jokes they use are
Oh
sort of-
yeah, no,
they're cheap.
the writing is just
they're
Hit or
very
miss?
bland. There's
Yeah.
not. It's very much like it's like childish in a
Okay.
way, right?
We're talking about the people who laugh at pee and scunchy. And
Yeah.
yeah, but
it's
I
one of
mean,
those things.
there's
Like,
one of
fart
those
jokes are always funny.
Yeah.
That idea, which they're not. They're not always funny. There's a time and place.
This one, you can, if you look at the writing and look at the jokes, it's there. A lot of it are just either forced or just lewd
It's a
for.
very different thing between enjoying something and thinking it's good.
Yeah, I mean, the art style is
'Cause
not
I
bad.
get why people enjoy Has Been Hotel,
Mhm.
and I think that's perfectly fine. You're allowed to enjoy it, whether I enjoy it or not. But I think it is an objectively bad show.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it has a
and
bad premise. I think it has lazy writing.
I
I
think it has a
think the art is
fantastic
beautiful.
look, I will admit,
I think the music is great.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
it's a
what do you
funny
mean
concept.
by
But I
premise.
feel like
Because
like the idea of like trying to redeem demons in this world that's like very apathetic and uncaring. And
sounds like a
staying
good
hopeful
show
and
to me.
well,
I
That's what
mean,
I'm
like,
saying.
I
think
thought of the
premise
same
is good.
idea.
Well, that's
I think
individual.
the premise is good. I think it's bad execution of it.
That sounds
Okay,
like
that's
maybe
what-
for what
that's
it
what I was
is.
Yeah,
trying
but
to
that's my
ask.
opinion.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I
I-
haven't
I-
seen the show. So
I
sorry.
was
yeah.
asking
interrupt.
because, like, I knew
That's all right.
that's a very creative idea.
Well,
A lot
it
of
is.
people don't. Yeah, that's
But
why
that
I was
doesn't
like, "What do
mean
you
the
mean
show's
by
good.
premise?" Because
It-
premise usually means like what you're trying to do with it. Like, what is your main idea about it?
No,
That
not like
yeah,
it's moral. The premise of the show is just like the main idea, the main plot point,
That's what I
right?
just said.
I have to look. I have to watch the.
Not
I have
like
to
a
watch the
moral.
pilot myself because from what I've seen for
In
the
the
trailer,
main-
the pilot seems like the concept seems interesting.
The concept is great. I like it. The execution. I don't like singing in a lot of the stuff that I watch, so that docked points for it from me.
Didn't you like
I
this
like-
opening song?
I
Shut
get
the
it.
fuck up! I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't like singing unless like the thing is supposed to be a musical kind of shit. Like I liked.
Yeah, I get you.
I liked Heather's. It was.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the songs and things that they did because that was what it was meant for. This is supposed to be like a comical, like more adult thing, and the music just took a draw for me and reminded me and took me back to My Little Pony, and I don't want to fucking think about that. So my biggest like takeaway from it, a lot of what they did was very original and things like that, and to me it's more like a passion than a want to make something sellable, as in like something that is supposed to be wholly good. And my takeaway from it is that maybe sometimes we are overcritical about the things that we watch nowadays. And so it's kind of like back then, if you were to I the only exception I have to this is Avatar: The Last Airbender, but when you go back and you watch your favorite childhood shows, you're just like, why did I watch this? What the fuck? Why did I watch Cat in the Hat on loop forever, basically, as a kid?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? But as a child, like, you have like this sort of air of like nuance to it as you get older, where you're just like, yes, that nostalgia, great. And so like you compare that feeling of nostalgia to your new stuff, because a lot of the new stuff isn't clearly up to par in your terms, because like we grew up with a lot of the fucking most like pretty out there animations and stuff that's hard to live up to in our minds, and they're not trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the rose-colored lenses of nostalgia,
But we need to
nothing
just
ever stacks up.
a lot of things have a lot of mistakes in it, and we just need to weigh things better. And that's why it's difficult for like modern content creators too, because we are a bit overcritical and undercritical at the same time. Like we have no in between where we're just like a normal average content. Like you look at it and you're just like, yeah, that's great or that's bad, because you got as much as you got the waves and droves of ass kissers, you've got all of those people who are just trolling or just being an asshole to be an asshole.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what am I supposed to do about this? So, in and of itself, like, I liked Hell of a Boss a lot more than I liked Has Been a Hotel, because that
I've yet to see that one.
I don't even
Hell of
remember
a
what
Boss
Hell
was
of a Boss
hilarious.
happened.
And like, you guys ever know Brandon Rogers? He voices the main character of it.
I
No
did
idea.
hear that. I heard there were like some big name actors on it, and I was like, yeah, I'll watch it, and then I just never.
I should watch it
liked
sometime
I
soon.
thought it was enjoyable, and it had a lot better jokes than Has Been Hotel did. Well, though I did like a lot of some of the jokes of Has Been. I thought those were pretty
Okay.
original. I never thought of.
Here's a
before.
good opportunity. What jokes did you like from Has Been Hotel?
I have never.
Do you have any examples?
The one where it's just like hit me harder, daddy, and then he's just like, son, like that completely blew my socks off. I didn't expect that part, nor about the thing about the dick. That was scary.
But a lot of the, and I think Wiz is getting insight to what the.
I mean, I don't know. I don't
With
really
a
know
lot
much
of-
either, to be honest. So
Okay, so both of you are kind of new to the concept.
Well,
all of the content, or all the. Go ahead, Liz, because I'm gonna rant.
In the
for a second.
circumstance of it, you had to be there. Like, you can't just like look at it from the outside and think, what the fuck are they thinking when you put that in there? To be honest, the character got like clapped and was thrown across the city, and he was like chained up, and yeah, it was a pretty interesting moment. And the characters, it's a context you have to see instead of just
a lot
hearing
of it is humor not based on this is funny, this will hit with the audience, and it's a lot of punch, right? Of like people won't expect this to happen because it's so fast. Like obviously like the hit me harder daddy son is just, like it happens like it's so fast that it's like, oh haha, I wasn't expecting that. And then they move on to the next joke. And all of the humor in the show is like that.
Okay.
Where it's just like,
fuck.
hey, here's this concept that isn't actually funny, and there's no like comedy to it because there's no like background to any of the jokes. They just happen, right? Like you could take any of the jokes as long as the characters are there and put them anywhere, like rearrange them anywhere in the show, and they land and they're just as funny because they're entirely based on being unexpected.
Well, there
and
was
not
one
being
of them
funny.
that wasn't like that. It was more or less like the character was going off about something because he was being like Fubin is saying, one of the characters responded to him as in, you made us look like a joke, and he's just like, honey, you guys aren't a joke. Jokes are funny. And like he made a comment about like how they're more like a highly disabled kid, as in like really, really bad, like orphans with progeria. That's what it was. And he's just like, oh, now I'm bummed out. Like that one was a good executed joke.
Yeah, but it's also like it like comparing someone to disabled children is not exactly topical or
They're in hell.
comedic in any way. Yeah, but that's not an excuse.
It's not an excuse,
Right.
but it sure as hell is a fucking reason.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
but,
So
like,
basically, they're terrible people, so they can make these.
What is
Listen,
that one?
it's like one of the things is that like people were
rage?
just like, I can't believe how homophobic the people who wrote this show are.
These characters are from
because
hell.
they're making jokes about
They're
gay
from
people.
hell, guys.
They're from hell. What did you
They're
want?
characters
That's what you
from
want.
hell. What do you expect?
They're supposed to be bad. That's
They're
the whole
supposed to be
premise of
horrible
it.
fucking
The whole
people.
premise.
The whole premise of them just trying to redeem themselves to go to heaven. Or whatever the hell the concept is.
Because they're trying to remove people from hell because, like, the princess of hell
It's
is really sick of watching
overpopulation,
people.
right?
Yeah, she's sick of watching people get, like, genocidally killed. So, like, which is understandable. I guess if I, like, walked outside and there's, like, bodies hanging all over
I'm
the
getting
buildings,
bored.
I'd be
I'm
scared.
getting bored of seeing people die. What if I fixed them all? I'll get bored of that within a couple hundred years, but don't worry, dude. That sounds like fun.
To me, it's a good concept, but
yeah,
the way it is executed in the pilot made it something left me more awkward. But on top of that, it's just like we got distracted.
Well, I mean, no, it's fine.
We wanted to talk about Melody.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
I
fine.
think we could talk about that another time.
We can talk about another time. We should be closing up. We could we all have topics that we all want to talk about. We get to pick up next time for sure.
Yeah. Plus, this way we have something to talk about instead of
scrambling like idiots.
Yeah.
Speaking of scrambling like idiots, for those who have.
Does that mean I get to draw Alchem as a stripper in the thumbnail?
No.
That's my.
Oh,
job.
no.
Absolutely not.
For those who are interested, who have any questions for us, or any inquiries or issues, or anything you want us to discuss about our topics, please email us at noconsequencespodcast@gmail.com. That is noconsequencespodcast@gmail.com. You can find our email down below.
I actually read your emails, please.
Liz is very lonely, which is why we would like to once again.
Please don't pull an Azazel and send an email specifically to anybody else in the cast, because I'm the one who reads them. All it does is make me confused.
Once again, we would like to thank Pyre. Fucking God! Somebody else.
If you want to find us at any of our other social media, like
Don't
Liz,
follow me.
Liz, stop
doesn't
having a
stream
stroke.
anymore, so you don't listen to him. Don't look at him.
Excuse me?
He's
Don't
just
look.
here. He
Wow.
just
No.
exists.
Well, he's planning to start making more YouTube content in the future, but that's when he's actually. Right now, he's kind of in hiatus.
Once again. We'll see what's happening. You can
We'll
catch
play it
me.
by ear.
You can catch me somewhere. Absolutely. Trust me on that one. Repeat on that. And we also you can catch Alchem at Alchem Games on Twitch.tv. Pretty cool.
That's not
I'm
important.
on his Twitter.
He has a Twitter. You can check him out.
Not important.
Look at
Not
his icon. I made it.
And Liz Kid Wiz there. Cool. She streams too. You can check her down below.
Much
She also
better.
draws
Much
art.
better.
She has commissions open. Commissions are closed, right?
Yes.
Oh, commissions are open.
Commissions
Okay,
are-
cool. So if you like the art that you for those who are looking,
I don't
on the
actually
stream,
draw like this professionally. It's meant as a joke.
it's pretty funny. I mean, maybe
It's pretty funny.
maybe you can request that. And of course, we have Cloudy, local mouse boy.
What's up? What's up? Hi.
Who's the art,
He's
Cloudy? You can find him at
already
Twitch
commissions
TV.
me having to draw Alchem with a nice
Also,
ass.
he has a Twitter,
Excuse
and
me.
he likes dancing. He likes dancing a lot. It's pretty cool. And of course,
Those
once
make
again,
me
we'd like to thank
scared
our
for my
guests
life.
for giving us these wonderful topics, discussions. Please.
I'm very sorry, Chad. Thanks for
We
having
got
me.
distracted.
We got very distracted, but in a good way. Nothing
I
bad.
kept laughing, which is kind of abnormal. Usually, I keep to myself for a long
Once
period.
again, we'll pick up the topic of good old Melody at another time. We have some interesting
We have more
long
topics to
form
discuss.
topics and discussions. You'll find us here next week. Hopefully we'll get it next week, guys. Right?
Yeah.
No fuck
Yeah.
ups.
No
Yeah.
fuck ups.
No
No
fuck
fuck
ups.
ups.
Back or my
No
kick
breakdown.
off?
Breakdown.
No breakdown.
Oh yeah, cream corn.
Oh god, no! Stop bringing that shit back.
Why is it always cream corn? Why is it
I
always
don't know.
cream corn?
Because you screamed that
Yeah,
loud.
but that was
Because-
like a really terrible meme that happened like for like a second.
I didn't even know the context behind it.
We
I
have
like,
a Twitch clip of it, but it still doesn't make any sense. In,
it
like,
still
the
doesn't
context.
make any sense.
It's
all I hear is Wiz screaming, "Oh yeah, cream corn!"
I think it was
I don't even know what the context is, but what I do
I
know
don't
is
want-
it is time for us to wrap up once again. For those who are currently in the chat, thank you very much for watching the stream live. And thank you for those who are also watching it on YouTube and those who are listening. We appreciate it. If for those before we close up, anybody in chat have any questions for us to discuss over, we could do that for a little bit, before we all.
Malcolm, can you please stop pointing your gun at me?
Wait, I'm not pointing. Excuse me. What? Oh,
On my screen, you're pointing it at.
On my screen,
I'm
he's
on the
pointing at me.
I'm on the far right. Bro. Wow.
You're pointing at me.
I'm
Why
on
are you
the
pointing
far
at me?
right.
You know what you did.
Oh no, that. This is all. This is how the No
Welcome.
Consequences podcast always ends.
I'm just glad that they can't see the name of the group.
Oh, you're right. They can't actually. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was-
Good
Which
that
is
they don't
pretty
see
good
this.
because there's a lot of cuss words in it.
I mean,
Mhm.
fuck.
Once again, thank you very
Just
much
copy
for
and paste it
listening.
so they
Thank you
can
very much
see.
for watching. We will see you guys next week. And remember, did you
Stay
know
frosty.
anime is becoming real? Let me tell you about VR.
Can I kick
Buy
him
your
in the
helmets
group
now.
too?
Half-Life Alex is coming next month. Did you know you can get it?
Dear Lord,
Oh
stop
my
him.
god!
Stop him. Stop him.